The administration facility is the corporate presence on Mars. Union Aerospace executives located in the upper-level offices are responsible for all local and interplanetary administrative tasks. This facility also houses data archives and a global network access station. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome back to Doom 3, and we are in the administration's office. But first, a cutscene.
I don't think you understand, Dr. Petruger.
No, I understand everything.
I'm telling you now, Doctor, the UAC is taking over this operation.
Operation? Is that what you're calling it?
The situation is out of control.
It's not out of control, Swan. You are. I'll manage this, and you and your flunky will be taking control of nothing. Do you understand?
Yes, Petruger. I think I do understand.
Okay, plan B.
So, as it turns out, the bureaucrat and his bodyguard seem to have a case full of ectoplasm, and that's probably going to help them out in some way, shape, or form. But before we get started with the actual level, I am going to allow you to observe that little television screen over there, which doesn't activate until you run behind the desk, because it's a video.
Welcome to the Alpha Lab.
Now, typically, if you find videos like this, there usually is a corresponding video disc somewhere inside the exact same stage which you can collect. And the important thing about taking notes when you're going to be doing a walkthrough is that you have to make sure you don't forget these things the first time you play through. Like I did. So, I'm technically doing this level a second time. It should be no secret that sometimes I just end up doing levels over again just because I wasn't satisfied with the recording. But as I said previously, that's the one thing I kinda like about Doom 3, is that the levels aren't excessively long, and in the end, if I just want to do a retake, well, I have no qualms with doing that. And this guy's not gonna stop shooting, jeez, cut that out, dude. And there should be another guard, yes, there is. Right, so, the video disc in question that you are looking for is right next to this important PDA. It's right here, this video disc. And it's all about the administration labs, and I think it's actually about the Alpha Labs, but I'm not gonna check that. Instead, I'm going to shoot this zombie, and we're also going to open up this cabinet by Alan Dorwheeler. And the code for this is 586, and the subject where you can find that code is an email about the armaments. These are the armaments right here. These are the hand grenades. I'm not gonna use the hand grenades immediately, but we will get to explaining what they do in a short bit of time. The reason I wouldn't recommend you use hand grenades is simply because of this guy behind the door. He's not the best test subject for that purpose. I'm gonna rush ahead for a minute here because there are two specific enemies that have timers attached to them, where if you don't kill them in time, well, they just kind of bugger off. And let's see if I can get rid of that guy first. There we go. And also, there's a dude around the corner who has a present for us! But I don't like his particular presence, so I'm going to have it explode in his face. That's such a shame. Right, so, about that imp. If you let him live, he runs all the way to this door and it locks behind him. Or, presumably, he just kind of dissipates into thin air and you never see him again. But if you run to this door and he escapes, then the door hisses at you. But I wanted to prevent that from happening. Also, ammunition backpacks. These function a little bit differently in this game. In the classic Doom games, if you picked one of these backpacks up, it would give you a permanent double increase of your ammo supply, and you'd also get a small bit of ammo for every type of gun that you could collect in the game. In this game, it's just an assorted amount of ammo, and ammunition backpacks in this game are also not quite as common, and you don't typically find them in secret areas all the time either, so, you won't see them too often, but it's kind of nice to pick them up and get a surplus of ammo for various different guns we have, although ammunition is never really a concern in this game, to be honest.
Don't stop, buddy. There's nothing you can do for me. They're all gone. Surprised us. They just came out of nowhere. There's still a few squads operating, but they're all cut off from each other. Try to find them.
So, an amendment to my previous statement from before. Yeah, Bravo Team isn't the only surviving team left alive. I mean, this guy, he's barely living, but it still counts. He made it through the initial wave, so hey, props to him. Unfortunately, we are not Director William Banks, so we're gonna have to murder William Banks and steal his PDA, because that's the ethical thing to do. I'm gonna show you how hand grenades work. Hand grenades, you toss them, they explode upon contact with enemies. And that's very, very nice. That's the only reason why I really like hand grenades in Doom 3. And hand grenades are also incredibly bouncy as well. That's the one thing I kind of dislike about them, but the fact alone that they explode upon contact with any living thing is not so bad. Unfortunately, it becomes a problem when the living thing survives the initial blast, because scripted enemies, that just tends to happen with them. In general, you just want to keep away from your own hand grenades, and on your first playthrough, they just might not be all that useful due to the fact that you can very easily damage yourself if you're not careful, since enemies do have a tendency to hug you in this game, and it's a little bit rude. I don't like being hugged by demons. It's not pleasant. I'm gonna lure these guys around here with my shotgun. Do the old corner baiting strategy. This is something you might see me do very commonly in this playthrough, is just let the Z6 run around the corner and then kaboom, their face is gone. Right, let me have a look at that case that Campbell was carrying. Property of the UAC, Delta Weapons model BFG 9000. I gotta get me one of those. If you pick any of those power-ups up, then it spawns an imp. And he's not gonna break the blast today. You are surviving a lot of shotgun pellets, but sometimes I forget as well that the shotgun has ludicrous spread, and as such, a lot of pellets are just gonna miss. You're just gonna shoot the wall for a minute. Right. Let's get on with it. Let's go find Director William Banks. Bugger. Fine. Let's instead go inside the security station and open the door to find Director William Banks. Oh, I apologize. Is this your security booth? Because, you know, I didn't realize you were on your lunch break, getting a sandwich and all that stuff. If you want, I could just leave and come back later until I get proper security clearance. If that's... oh, he's getting angry. Okay, let's just take care of him the old-fashioned way and shoot him in the booty. There we go. That's a Pinky Demon. Pinky Demons are a little bit larger compared to their former counterparts, you might say. And, they're not too common in this game. And the reason for that is mainly because Doom 3 was built with a lot of tiny corridors in mind, and as such, the space required to accommodate larger, tougher monstrosities like this is just... it's not adequate. So, we will, instead, just sort of... you are making me lose my train of thought. We will bask in the glory of the Pinky Demons for at least one level until they never appear again for at least 6 other levels. That's what I'm trying to get across. Here's a PDA by Jonathan Moses, and this is sort of a bit of a puzzle, because there's a cabinet right here. It's by Martian Buddy. Free stuff! So, a little bit of a two-part puzzle in this situation, where if you read Jonathan Moses' PDA, and he says, hey, can you go look up the code to open this up, because it's got pretty cool stuff inside of it. And the thing about the internet back in the day when this game was released was that people were able to make incredibly useless websites. Seemingly useless, unless you played a certain game that corresponded with that website. And on MartianBuddy.com, it would give you a code. 0508, I believe. Yes, it is. And remember, you're always a winner with Martian Buddy. Nowadays, if you go to MartianBuddy.com, it redirects you to Bethesda's website, because Bethesda is now the publisher for all the Doom games. And I feel as though this adds further credence to my belief that Bethesda is filled with evil corporate bastards, because why would you get rid of MartianBuddy.com? These guys send you free chain guns in the mail. I personally wouldn't be bothered by that fact alone. I want a free chain gun. Damn it. Well then, we're gonna put that thing away. It's too strong for us to use for the time being, but I will explain the properties of the chain gun eventually.
Marine, Bravo team reports there's some sort of unidentified growth taking over parts of the base. I don't know what it is, but it can't be good. Stay sharp.
A growth, you say? I find this particularly intriguing.
It isn't working. I tried everything. The computers aren't responding. I can't get root access to the systems. We can't do it here. We'll have to access the system somewhere else.
All right, let's go.
And there they go. Campbell and Swan with the BFG 9000. If I could just regroup with them, I would love to give that baby a test run, but unfortunately that's not going to be an option. Hey, turn around. Okay, there we go. There's also a security guard around that corner. He just kind of stands in the exact same area. He never seems to move, because he's just one of those odd guards. But I would like to see what kind of interior decorating the demons were up to lately. Yeah, this isn't the kind of motif that I would personally have in my office. I just came here for the director's PDA. And suddenly ritual! So, now we have a new mechanic added to this game where demons just sort of spawn in from nowhere. And technically, that existed in the classic Doom games. But the reason why it works better in the classic Doom titles is because when an enemy spawns in, it would just immediately attack you. In this game, enemies, a lot of enemies anyway, have to play some rather long spawning animations before they even do anything, so it's a guy, kaboom. Like, you get quite a large window of time to take care of the aggressor that spawns right before you, which sort of makes me question the point of having this mechanic in this game, especially with incredibly common foot soldiers such as imps. You're gonna be seeing it quite frequently during this playthrough. Oh, hey, how's it going, buddy? And nice to know that that loops around. Unfortunately, we are going to have to sort of circle back to where we were previously, because there's one more enemy spawn back in this area. And I appreciate this attention to detail by the developers, but I also question the point of running back the original route just because it simply takes longer to get to the main office. Anyway, we'll demonstrate the chain gun. The chain gun is essentially a better version of the machine gun, minus the fact that at a long distance, it's got very horrible bullet spread. Otherwise, very powerful. That was like only 13 or 14 bullets to kill that dude. So, yeah, pretty good thing. This is a pretty good thing, this old chain gun right here. A lot of weapons in Doom 3 are essentially straight upgrades from their original counterparts. I would say the exceptions to that would probably be the fists for the time being, and we might see a couple of weapons that have seen some significant nerfs compared to the buffs that a lot of other weapons have received, but I don't know, maybe you could add the shotgun to that list as well. The only reason I sort of exclude the shotgun is just because it's very powerful once you land all the pellets to begin with, like so. And yeah, even against tougher monsters, it's still a pretty efficient weapon, I would say. But we won't be breaking out the chain gun until we get, like, at least a respectable amount of ammunition for it, so just hold that thought for now. Oh, you went flying. The ragdolls can get a little bit buggy in Doom 3, which is really fun, especially if you kill enemies with melee attacks, such as the fists, because it just causes them to go flying over the place at times. So, using Director William Banks' PDA, we will be able to open that door, but there are two more enemy spawns right here, if you run towards the Alpha Labs door. First that guy, and that imp behind the desk. That is that, and we should just have one more enemy left to kill, I believe. And that's if you enter the server room, where you could try accessing the internet. Unfortunately, it's just filled with a bunch of error messages, so that's not gonna happen anytime soon. But if you pick up these grenades in this PDA, then there's just gonna be an imp behind the door. But thankfully we have grenades, which are quite plentiful in this game, so I can't complain. That's either a very odd shadow effect or a smoke... Okay, yeah, it was an odd smoke effect. I don't know how those work, but they look very bizarre. So that zombie that we killed earlier, the very fat guy who gave us a big blasting barrel, he just walks through this door, sort of lumbers through very slowly, and you never see him again. Which is why I felt the urge to kill him earlier. But that is pretty much the end of administration, unfortunately. Mr. Webb is no longer with us. He has gone to a better place. He has gone to UAC 2.0, where there aren't any demons. I believe that's the afterlife in the Doomiverse. And yeah, that is the end of administration, so let's go to the Alpha Labs.